The keyboard can be a frustrating device with countless keys that seem to have no other purpose than to confuse you. However, all keys are there for a specific reason, and in this guide, we're going to enlighten you about many of these keys' functions and possible combinations. These combinations and functions can help you both save effort and time. So first out, we have the function keys, or the F keys, which can all be found next to each other at the very top of the keyboard. Let's start with the F1 key. In most programs, the F1 key is a shortcut to the Help window, where you can search any inquiry that you may have. It also has one useful combination. By pressing the Windows key and the F1 key simultaneously, the Microsoft Windows Help and Support Center will open. And this is where you can get help for different problems you might have with your computer, but not specific programs. Next we have the F2 key, which has a variety of different functions in different programs. However, it can be used to rename highlighted folders. Possible combinations with F2 key include Alt and Control and F2, and in Microsoft Word, this opens a new plain document. Another combination is Control and F2, which displays a print preview in Microsoft Word. Next to the F2 key, the F3 key is located. By pressing this key, a Find field will open in most programs. In Microsoft Word, the Find box shows you all the previous documents that you have written. By pressing Shift and F3, every first letter of every word will be changed into lowercase from uppercase or vice versa. This is particularly useful when writing titles. The F4 key is another key with various different functions in different programs. In some programs, it opens the search window. We can search for different words, numbers, or phrases in the document. Whereas in Microsoft Word 2000 and up, it will redo your last action. There are two useful combinations with this key. Alt and F4 will close all currently open programs, and Control and F4 will close all currently open windows. Moving on to F5. F5 has two functions. It can be used to refresh a web page in most internet browsers, and in PowerPoint it can be used to start the presentations. There are no specific combinations for F5. Next we have the F6 key, which also has a very straightforward function. By pressing it, the cursor would automatically move to the address bar in Internet Explorer. There's one combination for the F6 key. By pressing Alt and F6 together, you will go back to a previous open window in Microsoft Word. F7. The F7 key can be used to perform a grammar and spelling check in Microsoft Office programs. And by highlighting a word and pressing Shift and F7 together, a thesaurus check will be ran in all Microsoft Office programs. Next we have F8. F8 can be used to open the Windows Startup menu, which is the menu you can find at the bottom left corner of the screen. There are no specific combinations for F8. F9. According to our survey, the majority of teachers didn't know what function or combination this key has, and it's because it doesn't have any. Therefore, we will move on to F10. And this key actually does have a function. In most programs, the F10 key will open a menu bar. Possible combinations with the F10 key is Shift and F10, and this gives the same function as right-clicking a highlighted object. Moving on to F11, which is the second last function key. By pressing this key, you will enter full screen mode in Internet Explorer. There are no specific combinations with this key. And last but not least, out of the function keys, we have F12. By pressing F12 in Microsoft Word, a Save As window will open. By combining Shift and F12, you will simply save your document. And finally, Control, Shift, and F12 will print your document to connected printer. Now that we covered the function keys, we can move on to other keys that might be a bit more of a mystery to some people. Let's start with the Windows key, which can be found at the bottom of the keyboard on both sides of the spacebar. By itself, the Windows key has no function, but there are a number of combinations. These include Windows and E, which opens the Windows Explorer, Windows and F, which opens Search, Windows and M minimizes all windows, Windows, Shift, and M restores all windows to normal size. Next, we have the Alt-GR key, which also is located on both sides of the spacebars and between the Window key on each side. This key allows you to write foreign letters and is done by simply holding it down while pressing any other keys with a letter or number on it. Sometimes you may not find the foreign character you're looking for, but fear not! By holding down Alt-GR and Shift, you can access even more foreign letters. The End key might be another one of those keys that seem to gather a bit extra dust. However, it does have a function, and it's located in its own little box together with a few other keys. The function it provides is moving the cursor to the end of a word, sentence, paragraph, etc. There are two combinations for the End key, and they are quite similar to its basic function. By pressing Shift and End, the cursor will go to the very end of a document, and by pressing Control and End, everything from the cursor forward will be highlighted. Next we have the Screen/sysrec key. This key is located at the very top in its own little section on the right hand side of the function keys. This is a combination of two keys from older keyboard, whereas the sysrec key no longer has a standard function and doesn't even exist on all keyboards. The screen, or as you might know it, the print screen, can be extremely useful. By pressing this key, a screenshot will be taken of whatever's on the screen at the moment and save it onto your clipboard where all copied items are stored. However, to access your image, you need to paste it in some other program like Microsoft Word, i.e. it will not actually print the image for you. And I know I've said this before, but this time it's really true. Last but not least, we have the Pause and Break key, which is located 2 keys away from the print screen/sysrec. Despite the fact that it has a pretty straightforward function, it's hardly ever used. This key can be used to temporarily halt the action of a program, like pausing a computer game or pausing a download. Sadly, there are no specific combination for this key. Well, that's all for this guide. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a nice day.